Everybody, quick, say hi to YouTube. Say hi to YouTube, quick. I'm gonna read the notes. This is gonna be a long fucking video, though. Holy shit, this is gonna be like an hour and a half. So the new hero, obviously, he has passive. He gets extra attack speed and movement speed, tenacity when he's low HP. Has cooldown. What's up, Fox? Hello, Fix. Meow. Make it funny. I can't make it look. I can't make it the way that you look, bro. I'm sorry. Anyways, basic attacks. He has an attack speed chain, so 1-1-2 timer. Um, Basically your first two autos are 1 second, 1 second, one time damage. Your third auto is takes twice as long to use, so it takes 2 seconds to actually hit, and then it does twice as much damage. For people that don't understand how that works, it's very simple, but it adds a lot of extra depth in terms of laning phase. For example, when you're trading with somebody, you can use the big hit to hit them, and then you pull mid and aggro as opposed to hitting them on the small hit, and then you get extra damage. So very nice. Is 3 hits, has a knock up, um, applies a bleed if you hit all 3 hits. Pretty straightforward. Scales with attack speed. His 2 is kind of like Hercules 3 in Smite. Basically, you get power, Omnivamp when you activate it. It slows people around you, and then after the duration of the buff, you heal for a portion of the damage that you take during the duration of the buff. So kind of like Hercules 3 if you played Smite. Basically, you activate this before you take damage, and when you're going to trade, and you heal a lot after, and you do a lot of extra, damage and whatnot. His 3 or his R&B. It's just a Greystone Leap basically, but it shreds prots and gives movement speed when you hit somebody.
Hell, YouTube.
Very
Like
similar to
and
Greystone Jump because
subscribe, and I
Greystone
will
Jump
like
also
your
gives you movement
toes. If
speed,
you
so it's
comment,
like
I
very
have
similar.
feet, they'll know you want me to lick them. Message me on Discord with a picture of your comment, and we can set up a time for toes licking time.
Are you okay? Anyways, his ultimate basically King Arthur ult from Smite. You dash a short distance, you grab somebody, uh, you hit them a bunch of times, you slam them into the ground, and it knocks back people that are in the ground. You can apparently grab multiple people with this. I don't know if that's based on his augment or just in general. Oh, it is. It is an augment. Yeah, this shit's OP. Basically, King Arthur ult or Yasuo. If you've played League, skin. This is just straight out of Elden Ring. All right. Frankensteel. This is a overprime skin. Wukong. I never seen that before. Pasture Lantern. This is a. Is this not already in the game? I guess it's just back for the Halloween event as well as the Chimera Joker skin. Oh, these are just all the Halloween skins back. Okay. I was very confused for a second. They were trying to show them off like they were new skins. These are all just old predecessor skins that are just re-available, I assume, for the Halloween event. ARAM, if you haven't seen the ARAM app, they turned it on their channel. Or the gadget skins. Pipe down, buddy. We don't accept comments from gadget players. Basically, you have all heroes unlocked. That's interesting. You get random heroes. Obviously, it's ARAM. Every hero will be unique, so you can't have mirror matches. That's actually interesting. I didn't know that. You have 2 rerolls, and yeah, I assume you could still trade as well with teammates and stuff like that. So maybe a teammate has something that you want to play, you could probably trade. You start level 3, 1350 gold. You get a divine potion, so the upgraded pot. You get extra movement speed, being out of combat, and vision items have been disabled, so no wards. Movement speed is just kind of like Nitro. In Nitro, you get extra movement speed when you're out of combat, I believe. So it's kind of just like Nitro. You can't purchase items once you leave base, so if you have to die basically in order to buy items. You can recall, but you won't get anything. This is just to, as far as I'm aware, this is so that you could stop people from backdooring, basically, or like locking down your base due to how the map is designed. You have jump pads. Your jump pads are disabled once your inhib is destroyed, and reactivates once it respawns. Interesting. I guess they're just trying to test the mechanic. Health packs, pretty standard. 30% max health, 40% mana. Shadow pads. Shadow pads are basically, if you played Legacy, you turn invisible when you're standing on top of it, I believe. You have to be hit or somebody else has to walk inside them, basically. Geysers, these are just like the, what's it called? The Shaper map. The the map shift geysers, I assume. Riverbug. Most objectives are to collect pin engagements. 120-second spawn timer. Respawns every 2 minutes. Vault passes. These are old battle passes, so if you didn't get to complete any of the old battle passes, you can now go back and finish them and get all of the rewards for them. You do have to purchase them, though, I believe. They are not free. Legacy, you can switch to Legacy and custom games. Ranked is in South America, so if I know South American players have been asking for this for a while. Basically on Sundays between 3 p.m. and midnight South American time. Uh, you will be able to play ranked on Sundays. I assume they just go and look at like what the most popular day is. Hopefully, this will allow them to continue to expand this in South America, and they'll be able to get this 7 days a week. Somebody suggested this on Reddit. It's a good suggestion. I hope they continue to expand this as well into like Japan or OCE, etc. This is a good change. Um, Even if it's a small thing, like it's nice to see them be able to at least expand that way. Loot cores, obviously, again, we've been over this before. Basically, you can't get platinum out of cores anymore, but you get opal every 3 quantum cores. You also can't get quantum cores out of ion cores, I believe. So kind of an L change. I don't like this. I think this is a little bit of a scummy change, but alas, here we are. Open your open your cores before Tuesday if you have any. Shadows Eve mini battle pass. So this is a mini battle pass, I guess, for Halloween. They'll be available again. Um, just a purple Belica Witch. I think this is just like a free battle pass, kind of like they've done for Christmas and stuff like that. So basically, you just play the game during this time and you get free stuff. Who's like getting a surprise quantum? Me too. Don't worry. Drink water. I got you, Gritty. How are you doing today, by the way? What's up, Snacks? Straight ripped from our rivals, buddy. They've had battle passes. They've had these middle battle passes for 3 years. They do them every Christmas. What do you mean? This is the first time they've done a mini battle pass outside of Christmas. Quantum still drops from Iron. Did they change that? I could have sworn in this original post they said you were not able to get quantums from Ion. Maybe I mistook it. Oh, maybe you can get quantums out of ions now still. Okay, I could have sworn this said I could have sworn that in this they said that you couldn't, but my mistake. My mistake. If you main Iggy, you don't get an opinion. That's true. Okay. Major game balancing. So this is what I assume most people are around for. Is there a blog for this? They've already talked to this. Is just like the normal stuff. Okay, basically, a lot of heroes will get mechanical adjustments or improvements to their abilities, so they'll feel better in general. I assume this is just like a lot of quality of life stuff, or like being able to like jump like Aurora 3 or like jump Aurora 2, etc. Like all that kind of stuff. She can technically jump 2 already, but like I assume they're just gonna make all that stuff feel better. Various projectile abilities have been slowed down, so a lot of projectiles like auto attacks and things like that, and abilities are slowed, so you can dodge them a little bit better as opposed to just hoping that the other person misses. You can actually potentially react to them, kind of like a Decker stun, where like she throws a stun from long range, and then you're like, all right, I'm gonna move out of the way, or like a gadget mine, like you can actually move out of the way. This is just making other projectiles more in line with that, so you can actually dodge, which is good. Um, Area effects have been reduced to increase their dodgeability. This is good on certain characters. I mean, I don't know which abilities these are. I assume we'll get to
Hi,
those,
YouTube.
but
Remember to like, subscribe,
good
and
and bad.
comment. If you do all three, I will DM you a picture of Soul and his Shinbi cosplay.
It's not my cosplay, bro. It's Gag's cosplay, but it's a real cosplay, bro. That shit's professionally made. I'm just saying, hit the fucking Twitch sub goal, bro. Face cam shouldn't be cosplay stream. I'm just saying, don't shoot the messenger. Most crowd control abilities lose 10 to 20% potency. I assume this is all crowd control, but the way it's written, I don't know if it's only immobilizing CC. I don't know if this includes like slows or blinds and stuff that's like more soft CC, but we'll see. Most abilities have lost scaling or damage. win level. This means that they're basically probably more scaling based, so you have to actually have some items basically. And durability increased by 5 to 10%. Not a huge fan of that change, but it's whatever. Support gold from Crest is increased, offering some of the offsetting some of the above reductions. So you get less gold drip and ambient gold from mini last hits. So if you miss last hits right now, currently on the current patch, you get 35% gold, even if you don't get the last hit, as long as you're within range of XP. Now you'll get less. I don't know how much. I'm sure we'll get to that number eventually, but you don't get less now, so they're increasing the support gold, so they get more gold for just existing, and they can actually play the game. New punter, thank you for the Twitter 50 bits. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Normal Shimby or buffed bubble Shimby? I don't have titties, sorry. That didn't come with the cosplay. Minions and Juggle Monsters grant more gold. This is again to offset the gold drip. Basically, if you're not farming your camps, you're up 60 CS on somebody, you will feel a difference because they're not getting free gold anymore. So you should feel a bigger difference in your CS differencing, which makes CS a lot more valuable and a lot more relevant. All heroes get their level stats more slowly level out, making them slightly more fragile in the early game. So I guess this is just like normalizing it. All heroes lost 15 movement speed. This is like 1% movement speed. This is actually like irrelevant. They made this sound like they were gonna make it like 5 to 10%. This is like might as well not exist. Honestly, you probably won't even feel this. Here's what their adjustments movement adjusted. So basically, before when you went left and right, there was momentum. So in order to strafe in Predecessor, you had to like go left, then move up or down, and then strafe to the opposite direction. So you didn't lose. You had to kind of move in like a circle, kind of, or like an L pattern, to not lose momentum. Now you can just go straight left and right, basically. Here's get base regen at level 1. Here's a basic attack combat penalty increased by 5%. So currently I think it's 30%. That'll be 35%. So you can walk away from people that are trying to auto attack you all the time. Everybody's gained 10% attack speed at level 1. So, to help you clear minions a little faster, secure last hits, all that kind of stuff. All heroes also check of attack speed growth to offset the above gain. So your late game attack speed will be the same, but your level 1 attack speed is higher. All heroes have extra physical power growth, so this is just for your auto attacks basically, so that your auto scale with the course of the game. Most heroes lose 5% scaling on their basic attacks. This is to compensate, so you get less scaling from your items, and you get a little bit more base powers for leveling up. So levels should be a little bit more relevant. But this also means like items are a little bit less relevant, so it's like kind of like offsetting a little bit. Kills are worth less XP at most levels. Kill comeback XP is less at smaller level differentials. This is good. Previously, if you were 2 levels above somebody and you died to the person that was 2 levels below you, they would get an extra, I think it was 60% XP in gold, which was absolutely fucking insane. Basically, if you were 2 levels down and you killed somebody, you would be even. This hopefully will fix that, and you won't just immediately be even again. You'll still have to actually play the game. They must have missed the... You think this is 15% movement speed? There's no way it's 15%. If it's 15% movement speed, this is a terrible change. If it's just flat 15, that's fine. They got to change kill XP. Yeah, I've been waiting for them to do that for a while. As far as it actually being worth less XP, I don't know if I agree or disagree with that. But like the comeback XP was insane. Global XP for boss monsters, basically Shaper or Prime, Fangtooth, Mini Prime, you get less gold and XP global, so if you're not at the objective, you won't get as much. The durability is slightly lower late game, and then slightly lower early game, and then late game they are tankier. They also do more damage, and they don't spawn as fast. Refillable potion healing has been decreased. You might not even buy this anymore. Tower damage increased and ramps up more aggressive with each shot. Tower platings fall off at 13 minutes instead of 12, so you get more time to actually take plates. Tower platings are easier to take early game, and all 4 plates remain. Not really sure what that means. Let's get into the actual balance. Level up stats, from like 1 to 18, change from 80% to 120 to 70% to 130. So basically, you get less stats. You get more stats per level, but less stats to start, basically. So like each level will feel a little bit more impactful. Kill gold, you just get less bounty gold for 1 or 2 kills. Once you hit 3, 4, 5 kill streak, you start to be worth more gold, and then later in the game it is about the same. But those first couple kills, you don't really get such a big bounty. This was like a big problem where like you would go to trade, like a 2 for 1 for example. Let's say you try to tower dive, you kill 2 people, you get 600 gold because you killed 2 people, and then you die, but you have a 2 kill bounty, so now you're giving an extra 120 gold because you died in the tower. So now you're only actually up 100 gold, and that was really bad. That was a big problem with kill bounties and stuff like that, or like if you died with a bounty, it just wasn't really worth it at any point to really trade a bounty for any reason. Now if you have like 1 or 2 kills, you're not actually worth that much, so you could actually trade your life for the bounties or for the kills, which is worth. Kill XP, just less XP for 1 or 2 kills. Looks like 1 to about like 8 kills is just less XP across the board pretty much until max bounty, which I think is like 13 kills or something. I'm not exactly sure what the max bounty is. Oh no, this is just levels. This is levels, sorry. This is levels. So per level you're worth less XP until level 18, which is fine. And the XP modifier for 1 to 4 hero difference. So this is what it was. You were getting so if you were 2 levels up on somebody, you were getting an extra 30% XP, and they were getting 55% less for killing you. Now you'll get 45% less for being 2 levels up on somebody, and they'll get 25%. So you'll get a little bit more for killing somebody while you're ahead, and you'll gain a little bit less if you kill somebody that is ahead. So you can actually push your lead and not have to worry about just instantly losing if you die, pretty much. Ambient gold, so near minion gold. So before you were getting 22. This is if you have 1 person near you, basically. You're now only getting 10%. So if you miss your last hit, you're getting 10% gold. You're not getting nearly as much, which is really good. Gold drip, you're getting 2.6 instead of 3. Big nerf to just free passive gold for existing. You actually have to last hit minions. So make sure you get your CS up. I better see 10 a minute or you're getting banned from my chat. All heroes have their movement speed reduced by roughly 15. Heroes now accelerate to max speed 33% faster. Heroes breaking friction is 9 times stronger. Basically, you'll just be a little bit more snappy, but your base movement speed is slightly lower. This does allow you to actually dodge abilities, though. So basically, if you were trying to left-right juke somebody, like let's say a Richter Hook, for example, it just felt really bad because you couldn't really left-right juke. You had to like left, back, and then right juke. Because you had to do that extra like back, like you had to move back to keep momentum, it caused like a really weird situation where you couldn't really dodge abilities. This actually allows you to just go left and right and dodge abilities in juke. Basic attack penalty increased by 5%, so range is now 35%, melee is 30%. This is a huge one. I've been asking them to do this for a very long time. Basically, if you missed an auto attack on melee attacks, I do this all the time in videos where I'll walk around the jungle just auto attacking because there's literally no penalty really for missing auto attacks as a melee character. And people go, why are you just jumping around and auto attacking? It's because there was no fucking penalty, and I got fucking tired of them not fucking changing it. Basically, now if you're just auto attacking and you miss as a melee character, you get the full auto attack penalty on the miss. So now you actually have to actually hit your auto attacks, and if you miss, you will still be slowed. So if you're out of range on that auto attack and you miss, they're probably just out of your range now. Your habit gonna slot you down. This is actually a really important change, and I wish they had made this way earlier. The amount of times, like, a Grux is fucking, let's say you're fucking TB dashing, right? And a Grux is running at you, and you're like, I'm gonna TB dash away, and then he autos, and he's just fucking sitting there autoing the air until he gets in range to fucking auto you. He can't do that anymore, because as soon as he autos once, if he misses, 30% auto attack penalty. He's gotta wait. So you can't just get ran down by somebody holding left click, even though they're missing. This is also a huge nerf to Yin, which is really good because that character is OP because she abused this more than almost any other character. Why not no penalty at all? Well, it's 10%. It's like minor. It's like literally non-existent, pretty much. Now it's 30% though. It's like the normal auto attack penalty, which is huge. That's a really good change. I like that change a lot. Even though I think some people will not like that change at first, I think they'll realize that it's actually a good change. Minions, more HP, more gold. Basically, they're just going to give more gold and tankiness to minions. The gold is to offset the passive gold, so if you're last hitting all your minions, you'll be similar gold probably, but if you're not last hitting your minions, you'll have less gold. So I don't think they expect people to hit every minion, so you'll probably be a little bit less overall gold, but not as low as some people might think. Hunt grants 15 gold and killing camp leaders. Boss monsters respawn slower. This is actually this is a very subtle change, but this is actually pretty important because this means that you actually want to smite camp leaders now, so you can generate a lead that way. But this also means you won't be able to smite objectives if you're spending camp leaders off cooldown. So it's actually kind of like a subtle change, but this could actually end up being like a 400 or 500 gold difference over the course of the game if one person is hunting camp leaders and the other person's only hunting like small minions or something. Basically big bosses or like the big monsters, so or prime, shaper, all that kind of stuff. In the heroes overviews have the updated walking animations because it must be because you showed a better one on practice. Not sure what you mean. Now you get backpedal penalty. There's no backpedal penalty, unfortunately. I wish there was, even if it was a small one. Boss monsters typically more durable in the late game. 2, 3, 4, 5 camps give slightly less gold. Okay, so you get less gold per camp, but hunt gives you extra gold, so that kind of like evens out, I imagine. You don't get it from river buffs, bugs, river buffs, side buffs, which is interesting. So like gold, cyan, you don't get it from, which is kind of interesting because they do count as camp leaders for other stuff like Overlord. Seedling, less HP, probably a good thing, honestly. Shaper, extra 45-second respawn timer, 50 less global gold and XP, does more damage. Fangtooth, an extra 15 seconds on the respawn timer. Much squishier on the initial spawn. Levels a lot faster though. More physical armor late game, so it's going to be harder to kill. And the current max HP health damage that it does is increased. Primal Fangtooth, current max HP damage is increased. Flame Breath scaling increased. Flame Breath max damage increased. This is pretty big. An extra 1% on that is like a 33% damage increase on the Fire Breath. That's actually huge. More HP in general. And physical armor increased significantly. Basically, if you don't have Demolisher, you're not doing this objective. Global XP also decreased. Mini Orb, 30-second longer respawn timer. I wonder if this means that you could actually get 3 now. Because you used to be able to get 3 if you did them immediately on timers. You could get 3. I wonder if this means that you can't get 3 anymore at all. Which is kind of sad if that's the case. If you play the game perfectly, you should be able to get 3, in my opinion. Cover for the red Timmy's complain they can't keep up with people because they're slow. Real. Who added this stupid auto attack penalty? I missed my auto attack. That'd be funny, bro. Or prime, less HP on initial spawn, but after like a minute, more HP in general. Scales faster, has more damage. Or prime, 30-second longer respawn timer, so it's now 6 minutes instead of 5.5. Global XP reduced by 100. More HP, physical armor lower on initial spawn. So if you do it right at 20 minutes, it has less HP and less armor, but it does scale faster. So like 25 minutes, it'll be better. Physical power, basic attack damage increased, so it does a lot more damage. And it also the damage reduction debuff lasts longer. So people that don't know, if you get hit by Orb Prime, you do less damage for 1.5 seconds. A lot of people don't know this is like 30% damage reduction. This is why it's like harder to solo it, and why you don't want your ADC to be tanking or like standing in the goop or whatever. If they get hit by missiles, like all of that stuff, it reduces your damage for X amount of time. This just means that it lasts longer. It only reduces your damage against targets other than itself. I actually didn't know it reduced your damage overall. I actually didn't even know this. I thought it was only to the orb to begin with, so I actually didn't even know that. This is just a small amount of gold decrease. If you smite one minion on each side, you will get, like, if you smite a red or a blue, you'll be even in gold. You won't notice a difference. Towers, they can increase up to 4 shots instead of 3, and the amount of armor pen that they have is reduced by 5%. But basically, towers cap at 3 shots, so after 3 shots, it does the same amount of damage on every single hit. Now it caps at 4 shots, so it does extra damage, and it scales harder on that 4th shot. Their actual damage has been increased. Tower plating removal time increased, obviously. 4 plates temporary armor decreased from 0 to -20. This is really good. Basically, when you kill a plate, the tower gets free armor, and it makes it a lot harder to take a second plate. Doesn't have as much anymore. Towers again doing more damage. The only thing I'm worried about this is that it's kind of hard to see. It might be harder to siege, which I don't know if I like or dislike. Regenerator getting nerfed. I assume this is to combat the fact that people will be squishier. Or sorry, not squishier. People will have less damage, so therefore you would get more value out of this because you won't get bursted as much. God damn, how long have we been going so far? Dude, it's been like 15 minutes. Holy shit. Why is tower plating even removed by a timer? Because it's an early game objective. Basically, if I pressure the lane and I'm playing on your tower line aggressively, putting myself in a position to be ganked, I get rewarded by getting your plates, and if you don't get the same from me, I get a lead by taking your plates. So that's my lead from being aggressive. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, we're gonna try to speed through this a little bit because I don't want to make this video an hour and a half. Acheron, tankier, again, extra attack speed. We already know this. Less growth, less movement speed. These are all just like, I assume this is gonna be normal for everybody. They're all getting a little bit of base power per level. They're all getting attack speed. They're all getting attack speed growth reduction, and they're all getting movement speed reduction. So I'm not gonna go through like all the general changes, but I'll go through the actual changes because I think these changes are just like the same for everybody. Obviously the numbers will be slightly different because each character has slightly different movement speeds or like attack speeds or whatever, but I'm not going to go through all of the general changes for every character. And some characters will get regen as well, yeah. Sure, only coin from the plates give you enough of a lead compared to taking them 14 minutes in the game. No, because then you're not actually getting a lead. It's like if I get a Fang Tooth, right? If I have 3 Fang Tooths and you get the 4th one, should your Fang Tooth be worth as much as my first 3? You know what I mean? Like in terms of golden XP? No, because you didn't get them. It's part of pressuring the lane. It's how you punish late game characters and you make early game characters more valuable. If I pick a character that's strong early game and I punish your tower and I'm pounding the lane, but then I fall off late game, I need that gold to be able to snowball. If I don't snowball, then my character's dog shit and I'm useless. So if I can't get a lead by shoving into your tower and like, doing shit like that, my character sucks. And it makes my character worse. It allows you to just sit in your tower and do nothing, and you get to AFK the game because you'll get the plates eventually anyways, right? So it's like, it just creates a situation where you don't actually get a lead. A lot of things people were protected. What's up, Baneful? How you doing today? Big fan. This patch is fraud watch. I don't know if I'd say that. Auto attack scaling reduced on Acheron. His Q less damage per hit, which is probably good. It's a little fireball. Web shot is low glue time, less damage late game. Root duration doesn't increase anymore. Leap damage decreased. Right click decreased base damage, decreased power, decreased healing. Oh, sorry, no, just decreased magical power. Decreased both scalings. Argus, again, same stuff. We already know all this stuff. His movement speed only got reduced by 10, though. They lied to me. They said 15 to every character. Liars. 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 Oh, liars. Health regen increased. Physical power scaling decreased on auto attacks. We already know this. Projectile speed decreased on his 1 by 15%. That shit's going to be slow as fuck. Good luck hitting that from long range. Damage decreased. Damage increased. Gravity increased, so it'll fall faster, but it's slower. I assume this is probably similar to where it is now. Or it's more similar to like Decker Stun. Right click, less base damage, longer cooldown, level 1. His ult now fires extra shots per level, so at rank 2 and 3 you get an extra beam per rank, so at rank 3 you get 5 shots. Less damage max level, but I assume the overall damage is probably about the same. Less scaling, obviously. This is like more total scaling, but less scaling level 1. Projectile speed decrease, so it's a little bit harder to hit. Projectile hitbox decrease, so it's a little bit harder to hit. Projectile VFX size increased to increase readability and better represent the hitbox, which is good. 5-shot self-root, let's go. True, but it does go across the map. Low key, though, this is like a huge buff. Because Argus ult does more damage the lower people are. So, like, if I fucking cross-mapping your dumbass with this shit, and I get an extra, like, what is it? Like, an extra, like, 15% scaling, 20% scaling on this, because I get 2 extra shots. And if I'm beaming you 5 times, I'm beating your fucking head in, bro. I'm gonna be honest. Aurora with the same base stats. Magical power scaling increased on the passive. We don't need to do that. Leap damage, leap cooldown reduction on immobilize increased from 3 to 4 seconds. I don't know why they keep buffing this. Character's fine. Less base damage on less base damage on our autos. Base damage scaling on our autos like every other character. Loki's poor buff since you use it to slow motherfucker from downtown. True. What did you miss? Everything. You can now cast Auroras to mid-air on normal cast or quick cast. I didn't even know you couldn't do this. I didn't realize it had to be on instant only. I didn't even know that. Explosion 30% slow removes. You don't get a slow on the ult anymore. Oh, sorry, a slow on the right click anymore, which is actually a huge nerf. That's a massive nerf. So it used to do a double slow. So it slowed on initial hit, and then it slowed on the explosion. Now it only slows on the initial hit, which is actually a huge nerf. A lot of extra damage though, and a longer cooldown. So also a longer delay, so you can actually walk out of it. Maybe this is kind of like more damage, but actually huge CC nerf to this character. Boris, again, same base stats as everybody else. Nothing too different there. His passive getting buffed by 1% per like canister, so he gets 4 canisters. You know, he gets an extra 4% attack speed. Irrelevant. Auto attack scaling decreased like everybody else. Passive damage, so the amount of like damage that it does on the magical is lower. It's only 1 slow. Interesting. Correct. His 2, so the fear, less base damage. His dash, 5 extra base damage and 5% less scaling. Kind of a nerf, or I guess 1% less scaling per level, so 5% late game. Kind of a nerf. Buff to his early game, nerf to his late game, especially with the passive nerf. You'll definitely feel that on Boris. Countess, Shadow Slip projectile speed decreased. I didn't even know this was a projectile. I didn't know her dash was a projectile. I guess it is. The AoE is increased though, so it's a little bit easier to hit. I did feel like this ability was a little inconsistent, so hopefully it's a little bit better. It's also a little bit more visible, so you can actually see where she's going to. Her 2, less scaling. Projectile size decrease, so it's a little bit harder to hit. Make sure you're fucking aiming. Right click, lower scaling. Good. And the alt fix an issue or feast not going cold when used against a spell shielded target. Kind of silly. Can they make this ability stop doing damage to people that are cleansing it? That would be sick. How about we do that? So tired of this ability hitting me after I already cleanse it. How about we just fucking make the ability not do damage when I cleanse it? Instead of being like, hey, you have to walk a certain distance. How about fucking no, I'm stunned? How about fucking it doesn't do damage because I cleansed it? Just cancel the fucking ability. Alright, how about that? Anyways. On the crunch, less scaling on his passive, less base damage on his 1, less scaling on his 1, less scaling on his 2, less magical scaling on his 2. Right click, lower cooldown when you level it up, longer cooldown when you don't level it up. This is actually kind of a good change, low key. Now blocks movement midway through the dash wind up to increase the feedback and field dashing. I'm not really sure what this means. I assume this means that you can turn while dashing at the start of it, and you're not locked into it until halfway through the dash, but I'm not 100% sure. That's how that reads, though. Decker 1, less base damage, more scaling. They really want her to play mid lane really bad. I don't know why. More base damage level 1, too, which is actually better for, again, her mid lane. I don't know why they want her to play mid so bad. Visual cage now better matches the collision activation timing. That's good. Activation delay increase, so you like it's harder to hit the cage. Now spawns a decal in the world when placed before the cage becomes active. Okay. Stasis bomb. So on duration based on distance decreased. So instead of up to 2 seconds, it goes it's just 1.5. At max distance, it doesn't scale with levels anymore. Base damage increased, early game, lowered late game, projectile gravity increased, so it'll fall a little faster. Stasis bomb projectile now visually rotates when it travels. Okay. Bounciness increased, so it'll bounce further, but it also falls faster. Raysoda is never losing lane to it to me again. What does that even mean? Sun duration on alt decreased, 1.75 seconds. Yippee! Down to 1.5. Not going to be CC chained for 4 seconds. Sick. Drongo, same as every other ADC. Max health on his passive decreased. Scaling on his auto attacks decreased, obviously. Explosion radius on the grenade decreased. Grenade explodes on impact when thrown at an enemy hero. This is a change I've been saying for a while. Basically, if you're playing against like a crunch, for example, you want to throw the grenade at him. You had to throw it at his feet because it only silenced on the explosion and it only exploded on the ground. So if you hit the crunch directly, it would go through him and the silence would land on the ground behind him and it would not silence him. Really fucking annoying. Very fucking annoying. Made certain matchups very aggravating. This now, if you throw it directly at the crunch, it will silence the crunch immediately and explode on him. Same thing if you silence like a Howie, you can hit a Howie directly, it'll silence a Howie. Skylar, huge counter matchup if you can actually hit the grenade. A little bit harder to hit. She's got that, tight frame, if you know what I'm saying. Fat ass, though. If you hit it directly, it'll cancel her flight. It'll explode in the air and silence immediately. Smaller radius, though, to compensate. A little bit less base damage. Late game, a little bit more early game. Rod rounds, less damage per hit. More scaling though. Drawing a right click, more damage early game, less damage late game. Seems like most of the damage like early game is getting buffed, ability wise, but like obviously your scaling on auto attack and stuff like that is less. But late game it's a little bit lower. Ult same thing, a little bit less damage, a little bit less scaling. Fang Mao, same just as everybody else. 25 movement speed reduction though is kind of a lot. You'll definitely feel that. His free power from his Q reduced. Kind of irrelevant, honestly. Hamstring damage decreased. Scaling decreased. Isolation, scaling increased. So if you get somebody by themselves, it does more. It's not considered proc damage and no longer triggers Infernum and mutilator effects for 2 times value. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. But that's alright. It is what it is. His dash does less max health damage, or less current health damage, and the scaling is decreased. His ult, less base damage late game. Very small nerfs to Feng Mao. Biggest nerf was his movement speed, honestly. Gadget, auto attacks decreased, obviously. Casting time on the Q increased, so it takes a little bit longer for it to actually come out of her hand. Change minion movement speed? I don't believe so. Now automatically becomes empowered when Gadget attaches Sticky Mine to herself or her allies. So basically, if you throw a mine on a enemy and you auto attack them, it does extra damage. Now, if you throw it on an ally, I assume this also includes minions. Does this also include minions' choice? Do you know? It gets damage for everybody, which is actually a huge buff if you get it to explode from your teammate. So this is a huge buff if you actually put it on your teammate, and this could actually increase your wave clear significantly if you can put it on your own melee minion when the waves meet. Security gate, extra damage. Why are we buffing Gadget? Less movement speed, doesn't really matter. Root duration decreased, that's good. Cast time, there's an actual cast time now, so it's not instant, that's good. Magical power scaling increased, don't know why we're buffing her. Security gate lifetime decreased, this is good. Seek and destroy, right click increased. Hero follow speed decreased by 15%. Still an insane ability. I feel like hat change makes it less skillful. How does that make it less skillful? You have to hit an ally for you to get the bonus damage on everybody. What do you mean? You still have to auto attack an enemy to actually get the bonus damage you bought. Like normally, if you hit like an enemy, you literally won't even really notice this outside. Like if you can use it on your own minions, it auto empowers. Yeah, when you hit an ally or yourself, you fucking ape. You have to put it on yourself or your teammate. You bot. Read what it says. How about the time you out Denim? You're being a fucking idiot right now. Gadget base damage increased early on the ult. Scaling decreased. Late game is the same. Small nerf to a roll. You're being a fucking Timmy right now, Denim. Gideon, if you miss your auto attack after an ability, it goes on cooldown. Oh, it's consumed does not go on cooldown. So basically, you just have to, if you miss your auto attack, you have to hit another ability to use it again. All right, we can go over it later. Denim, I'm about to call you an absolute bot and time you out, bro. Honestly, what is so complicated? If you attach it to an enemy, you have to auto attack them to get the bonus damage. If you attach an ally, it has the bonus damage if your ally is somehow in range to hit the enemy. What is so complicated? It's not that complex. What is so complicated here, bro? What is so complicated, man? I'm always so mean to Denim. I just repeated my same thing like 4 times. Basically, if you miss Gideon's passive, or like you can miss it now, and if you miss it, you have to use another ability to reproc it. Root doesn't last as long. Too late, you're on YouTube. Real. I think you're just being a Timmy Denim, I'm going to be honest. I don't think you understand what it means. Or like how it's like not really a buff. Or how it doesn't make her easier in any way. Anyways, Cosmic Rift, extra damage on his Q. Love to see that. Extra scaling, lower or a smaller hitbox, so harder to hit. Lower cooldown. Yo, Regis buffing Gideon. Hold on. Love to see that. Little Gideon buff. Shit. Less of a slow on the right click. More base damage. Love to see that, man. More damage on the ultimate. Shit. He'll edit it out. Don't worry. You wish. Smite 2 is better. I mean, that's your opinion, brother. You're entitled to your opinion. Don't remember anybody asking, though. That's why you're in my stream, right? Not in a Smite 2 stream. You got me. Greystone, more armor shred per hit on his 1. You can now miss the auto attack on his 2. Less base damage late game. His dash less base damage. Jump speed decrease, so it's a little bit slower. Cooldown decrease when you level it. Very minor changes. Grim, passive scaling decreased. Q scaling, or base damage increased. Hitbox lowered. Just in general, in both performances. And the ult projectile speed decreased, so you can block it a little bit easier. Grunks, less scaling on his basic attacks, less damage on his 2. Base damage, very minor. It literally didn't get touched at all, almost. Teleport range based on level nerf. Wait, they nerfed the teleport range? Did I miss that? Oh, teleport range is changed on levels. Honestly, I'm fine with that. That doesn't actually bother me at all. That actually doesn't bother me at all. That's a buff, though. I'll take that. That's a buff. Meow, can I restart? You just got here. I can't, bro. We're like 30 minutes in, bro. I gotta fucking speed up is what I gotta do. Howie, he's getting a lot of shit changed. Less HP, so he's gonna be squishier. More base power. Other than that, it's just the same changes as every other character. Movement speed, augment decreased. So you're going from 40 to 160% instead of 40 to 200%. I don't know why it's written like this. I think it's fucking confusing. What the fuck? This is just confusing the way it's written, but it was 40 to 200. Now it's 40 to 160. Anyone when the update comes through? You see it's today 14:10, but you can't seem to find out what time. Well, it'll be on Tuesday. That's all you know. 14th is Tuesday, brother. Are you okay? His passive increased base damage. Also means you get more mana regen. Missile increased damage and scaling. Less on direct hit, so easier to play, I guess. Projectile direct hit radius increased. Exposure radius decreased. Okay, so they're just buffing Howie for some reason. Because they just make it easier to be a direct hit. And if you miss the direct hit, it's still more damage. So that's just a buff. It's a slight nerf to people that are good at the game. By like 20 base damage. But for the most part, this is a buff. Landmine, less base damage, more mana costs at all ranks. This is a good nerf. The mana cost is a pretty big nerf in general. I like that nerf. Slow grenades, duration decreased, so 1 second slow. And the cooldown is increased early game until you level it. How he buff? I mean, he got nerfed in other ways. He fires 4 barrage instead of 3. He hovers for a longer duration. Total damage increased. Okay. Total magical power scaling increased. Damage per missile decreased slightly per missile. Magical power scaling per missile decreased slightly. Projectile speed decreased. Okay. I mean, I guess they're just giving Howie more damage, I guess. All right. I guess if you get it canceled, you're not doing more damage, but I mean, you might just be able to one-shot somebody. 28% is a big nerf. The projectile is almost instant, bro. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think you're really dodging the missiles most of the time, even with the nerf. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Iggy slow decreased. Passive Damage per level decreased. Scaling decreased. Damage now correctly increases with level. I didn't realize this wasn't working like that, but it makes sense because that shit always felt terrible. Projectile Molotov decreased. Gravity decreased, so you can throw it further. Projectile VFX increased, so you can actually see it potentially on the ground. Scaling increased. Base damage increased. Huge buff to Molotov, honestly, especially with the right-click augment. You probably get that shit slamming. Scaling on the ult increased. Cringe. Kalari, she gets less armor. She gets more control in the air, so when you double jump and stuff like that, you have more control over where you're moving. Currently, when you are in the air, falling from the air, you can move in a direction, and it's like 80% effective. Now you'll have full movement when in the air, I think, which is kind of a huge buff. So getting 4 stacks at the start for free, true. Deathmark, using guillotine after double jump no longer makes Clary fall to the ground while channeling the ability. Okay, bug fix. Double jump no longer goes on cooldown after using a single jump and casting Shadow Dance. Okay. She has to land before double jump goes on cooldown. That's actually kind of a good thing. It means you can't. I mean, it's a good thing and a bad thing. When allows Clary into movement directions that she can move freely in the air. Huge buff. This one's weird because it's a buff and a nerf at the same time. The reason it's a nerf is because if it goes on cooldown immediately, that means it's up faster. So since it doesn't go on cooldown until you land now, basically if you're in the air, so you could double jump, ult, jump again because you get another jump after your ult, and then it would be on cooldown when you landed, and then you could double jump again. Now it's if you double jump ult, as soon as you land, then it will go on cooldown, and now you'll have to wait before you can jump again. That's why sometimes she could get some crazy airtime. Less scaling on her auto attacks, less scaling on her too. Right click, less scaling, and projectile speed decrease, so it's a little bit harder to hit. What's up, Lassa? We're reading, bro. We're reading. We got a lot of shit to read. Movement speed on his passive, so if you get 15 stacks, you get movement speed, and the amount that you need to get the movement speed is increased. So, kind of a decent nerf. Basic attacks reduced. Ambush, his right click, scaling decreased. Very minor nerfs to Chimera. I assume they nerfed his items, so I'm not surprised to see him not really touch that much. A lot of this is going to have to be a feel it because of so many shifts. Correct. Kira, less damage. Less damage. She gets anti-heal on her ultimate, which is kind of important, and more damage on her ultimate base. Kwong, less damage. They just keep nerfing Kwong, huh? Tether duration decreased. His right click decreased. True magical damage decreased. Kwong just getting criminalized. I might try to move a little faster if I can. I don't want this video to be an hour on YouTube. Or more than an hour. Belica, Q nerf. Void drone nerf. Right click, base damage increase. Radius increase. Explosion delay increase. So there's a longer delay, but the radius is larger, so I don't even know if this is actually a change. Also, base damage increased on Belica, right click. Not sure why. This also increases the follow-up damage when it's level 5, I assume, because it's a reflection of the base damage, if I'm not mistaken. Also, this increases the isolation augment, so, Belica buffs, in a way. But they are nerfing the Q and the drone. Drone getting nerfed is actually a pretty big nerf. Morgesh, less auto attacks, less explosion radius on the Q, less scaling on the Q, very minor nerfs to Morgesh. Morn. Anything important in here? His Q can damage monsters. This allows him to jungle, which is actually huge. This also means it shreds armor on objectives, I imagine. Damage / healing tick rate changed from 1 second to 0.5. Total number of ticks increased, so more ticks, but same damage overall, it looks like. Actually, it looks like he gets a little bit less damage overall. It also applies damage immediately on application, or heals immediately on application. Total damage increased. I guess you do get 7 ticks, so slightly more damage. Scaling, magical scaling decreased a lot, but overall it's about the same. This is so weird because it's just it's basically just a buff to the ability. It just procs twice as often, but not as much per hit. Why do they love Morgash? Which dev loves her? She got nerfed. What do you mean? And Tremor goes crazy now. True. Actually play more now. Yeah, I mean, him being able to jungle, like, his Q actually hitting jungle monsters is actually a huge buff, like a massive buff. Healing per tick decreased. Overall, you're getting a buff here, though, I think, across the board. This is just a straight buff to the 1. Scaling on the 2 decreased. Mesmerize duration decreased. Per level, self-slow increased. His ult slow duration decreased from 1 second to 0.75 seconds on the right click, and the base damage late game nerfed slightly. Buff to Mage Morn. Buff to basically just a buff to Morn, honestly. I feel like. I don't feel like Morn got hurt really at all this patch. Murdoch passive increased. Root on the mines decreased. Activation time decreased, so they activate faster. Makes it easier to chain CC. Movement speed decreased on his 2, which is good. Vertical hitbox improved and allow heroes to jump through the laser blast and now receive damage as easily. How about we make it not a cone ability, please? So a little bit harder to dodge Murdoch ult. Muriel, 8% damage amp on the Q removed. That's actually a huge, massive, insane nerf, honestly. Projectile speed decreased, hitbox decreased, and the slow duration decreased significantly. This is a fucking insane nerf to Muriel. Holy shit. Absolutely insane nerf. Extra shielding on the 2. Cooldown decreased. Cooldown increased late game. Huge Muriel nerfs. Like, absolutely massive Muriel nerfs. Less movement speed on the right click. Muriel might be dead this patch. She actually got criminalized. Holy shit. Yeah, Muriel got absolutely criminalized. Narbash. Less movement speed on his Q. More healing level 1 on his 2. Thunk is not allowed projectile that no longer has limited range, but it is affected by gravity after traveling to 1,300 units, progressively falling to the floor. So basically, you can throw Morn, or you can throw Thunk kind of like Decker Stun. It goes in a straight line a certain distance, and then it starts to fall off towards the ground. But you can throw it like a lot further now, obviously. Damage increased, stun duration decreased, but it increases per level. Projectile speed decreased. Is Merrill even OP? Yeah, she was the best support in the game by far on this patch. Phase Q nerfed, blind nerfed, Lance damage decreased, root duration decreased, good. Rampage, stun duration decreased. Longer damage to nearest enemy within a small distance when hitting terrain. I didn't even know that was a thing. So you could miss the ability and it would still hit, I guess. Or the damage. Projectile speed decreased, gonna be harder to hit. Projectile gravity decreased. So it'll be, you could throw it. The speed's decreased, but it's also a little bit more floaty, so you can throw it a little further maybe. Damage slightly decreased. Damage decreased on his jump by 20. Very minor. Rena quality enough can hover while she is knocked back by an explosive flower. I wasn't even aware that you couldn't do that. You can throw Thunk across lane. Yeah, it's like a Decker Stun now, basically. But it's not like the same as Decker Stun. Decker Stun's a straight arc. Narbash Thunk is like a straight line and then it arcs. So it's a little bit different. Right click, less base damage. Her passive needs more essence to scale. Less of a hitbox. Less of a radius hitbox. Pretty big Renin nerf. She's not even that OP. I don't like. She's probably gonna be pretty mid now, if not like kind of bad, especially with some of the other mages getting buffed. Revenant, base attack timing decrease, so you get less autos in general, which is kind of a... Wait, no, this is a buff. Basic attack time. Lower is better, right? Catch Seek Mana Power works on minions too, just got confirmation, that's pretty dope. Yeah, it's a huge buff to our laning phase, if you can actually use it correctly. But yeah, this is a buff. You get more auto attacks, basically. You auto attack faster. He also gets no attack speed growth, so no free power for existing. That's a good change. Bonus physical power increased from 3 to 9% to 3 plus hero level. This is like how much you get for crit and stuff like that, right? So you just have to actually level up for it. It's not like you get it per level as opposed to at thresholds. Basic attack, he gets less scaling. Basic attack timing animation improved to be more intuitive with the recovery time between shots. That's good. Bonus physical power scaling decreased on the Q. Root duration decreased. Doesn't level up now. And the right click movement speed is lowered, which is good. You love fighting Renas, you just shoot them. True. Tony's love saying Rena is the most broken thing in the game. True. Silence duration decreased on his 1. This is Richter. Nothing too crazy. His 2 does less base damage, has more health scaling and more magical power scaling, so he's better in jungle. Better with items, a little bit worse early game. Movement speed decreased, so he's going to be slower. And the right click has 5 base damage, level 1. Holy shit. Actual just movement ability. Projectile speed decreased by 5%, so a little bit easier to dodge maybe. Yeah. Right click actually just does no damage. Mana cost decrease though is huge. It means you can throw more hooks in lane and not have to worry about missing. Fucking Sereth. All my homies hate Sereth. Attack duration decrease, so she's not inside somebody invincible for as long. It's about a 30% reduction on her Q. Cleansing Counter Assault should stop damage 1.9 now, by the way. You got a semi-confirmation just now. Well, I don't think it's a bug. I think it's just intended. But if they fix it, that's fucking good. Because I'm sick of that shit hitting me when I cleanse it, bro. It's actually so annoying. People just like ape you and they Counter Assault, and then you cleanse it, and then they're like, oh, well, I hate you anyways. You're just dead. Fucking cringe. 5 damage is hilarious. Well, it also does 8% max HP. It just not, they didn't change that part. So this is like, it's 5 base damage plus 8% max HP. And pulling you out of position. But they didn't change the base HP, so it doesn't, like, they didn't list that here. But it does do 8% max. So it's not just 5, but it's like 5 base. Sarah 2, less damage. Sarah's right click, less damage, and the slow duration doesn't last as long. This is actually like kind of good, by the way. Like 0.5 seconds off the slow duration means basically like she has a harder time hitting 2 autos back to back, which then means if she misses that second auto, she can't really follow you because of the auto attack penalty being increased. So it's like actually kind of a big nerf. 7 damage per soul on his Q, lowered slightly. Bonus health scaling decreased. Magical power scaling decreased. Root duration decreased. Dash decreased. Health scaling. He seems fine. Should be less multiplier on the passive. They finally fixed the wolf passing through enemies, not deal damage. Yeah, I'll believe that shit when I fucking see it. It's been in the game for 3 years. I'll believe that shit when I see it. I don't believe that at all. Should be late game. Her 2 does less damage. Kind of an insane character. Barely got touched. Probably gonna be insane on the next patch. Skylar, explosion damage increased. Scaling. Increased scaling, decreased base damage late game. Slow decrease from 40 to 80% to 40 to 60%. Thank God I'm finally not getting slowed by 80%. Who could have thought 80% slow would have been a good idea, man? Crazy concept. Projectile speed decreased, so it's a little bit harder to hit. Physical scaling on the beam decreased. Bonus attack speed scaling decreased. And the explosion radius on the ultimate decreased. Good. Sparrow, bro, there's so many fucking changes. I feel like I've been here forever. I gotta read faster, dude. Hail of Arrows, slow scales levels, slow duration doesn't last as long. Fiction issue meaning could reveal Sparrow. She was stealth, good. Cringe that she gets stealth anyways. Remove that shit from the game. Arrows also does less damage over the duration. Piercing Arrow does less base damage and does less damage per stack of her passive. Kind of a big nerf, especially since it scales percent-wise with her passive. Steel, he gets less physical armor base. That's kind of big. His cleave is increased, so it's a little bit easier for him to clear minions in jungle, for example, which is kind of nice. 8% bonus health scaling added onto the dash can now be cast while mid-air. That's pretty nice quality of life. Means you can use it off a blast flower. This means you can actually dash in a mid lane off the blast flower from 2 camp probably. Magical power damage, magical power decreased and the base damage increased, but you get 8% bonus health scaling, so kind of a buff overall. Scaling on the 2, or the damage on the 2 increased. This is good, especially if you have the shield augment. And the damage on the ultimate is increased by 20. Kind of irrelevant. Steel will feel a little bit better, though, in general. Bonus scaling on Her auto attacks decreased, bonus scaling on her Q decreased, true damage decreased. No, my girl, she was just fun to play, finally. Axe hurl decreased by base damage. Physical power scaling on the right click decreased, base damage decreased, max charge damage decreased. Or sorry, max charge damage increased, so you get more for actually holding it, but you get less for just instant popping it. So you actually want to hold Terra Dash down instead of just insta popping it for the shield. And the shield health scales with levels, so you probably level this now over the 2, which is kind of a big buff. Cooldown a little bit longer late game, though, to compensate. Faye, you get longer cooldown on the 1 early game. Projectile speed on the 2 decreased, base damage on the 2 increased, late game total damage on the right click decreased slightly, and the range on the right click decreased slightly. So you can't throw it as far. Anything decal to show fly traps to the range when it has been cast. Okay. Delay before pull increased, so you can get around a wall farther, and the vine snap range increased. So it's a little bit harder to snap, but you get more time to actually like compensate. This will mean that you'll probably get pulled out of your flash way more often now, though. You might not be able to flash out of fail range anymore. Because flash is only 850 units, and you had to be 1100 units. Now it's 1600 units, so you had to already be like out of the failed for it to not hit you anymore. So you probably cannot flash out of the range anymore, but you will have more time to like flash around the wall. The actual grab range is the same though, so they do have to hit you like in the middle. TB, only homies hate TB, remove him from the game. Rework on his passive. Upon casting ability, gain 15% total attack speed, and his next basic attack within 4 seconds becomes enhanced, firing 3 times instead of 2. This triple shot deals 135% of his normal basic attack damage. Okay. Not sure if that's good or bad, honestly. Without experiencing it, I feel like that's good, but I also feel like that could be worse. It's hard to say. Does it like is the auto last longer? Is it in the same time frame? Like all that kind of stuff. Like I don't know if this is better or worse. That's when I'll have to just experience. His Q does less damage, grenade less scaling, stronger slow, but the slow doesn't last as long, and their projectile speed is decreased. They're a little bit more floaty, projectile hitbox increased, and the explosion radius decreased. So you can hit it a little bit easier directly, a little bit harder to hit the explosion. Slow duration slow strength increased, but the duration decreased, and less damage. Ult, less damage per shot late game. Wraith, they're actually just removing Wraith from the game. We don't even have to read all these because they just removed them from the game, is what it turns out. They just removed Wraith from the game. Thank God. They've listened to my prayers. Projectile speed on the Q decreased. Projectile gravity increased, so you can't throw it as far. Projectile radius decreased, so you have to be a little bit more. You have to aim a little bit better. Movement speed on the 2 decreased, which is good, and the scaling on the right click decreased slightly. Still a cringe character. All my homies hate that character. So Wukong's attack speed, so it gets attack speed from the pole vault. So when you jump in the air with its Q, you get extra attack speed. Now it scales with physical pen. And the cooldown is decreased by 1 second on all ranks. The slow duration on his slam is decreased by half a second, and the cooldown late game is decreased by 1 second. His 2 no longer blocks projectiles, but it does give damage reduction scaling with physical pen. So if you have physical pen, the actual mitigation that you get from it is increased, and the animation projectile cast speed sped up. So the stun comes out faster, but it doesn't stun as long, and the cooldown is decreased. Basically, you get more reduction in damage, but you don't block objectives, which is a good change. This is one of the reasons why Wukong was so frustrating to play against, and now he'll be a lot more balanced and a lot more easier to balance. Damage on his push decreased. He's probably unplayable though because they just keep nerfing his damage. He's still gonna have mana issues. Layer gains additional hair stacks upon damaging monsters when using the farmer augment. I didn't even know that was a thing. That's kind of sicko mode though. Slow duration on his right click dash decreased, and the damage decreased. Yeah, Wukong probably be unplayable, honestly. His damage might just be too low. Best gonna patch is Narbash RMV changes. Bro, we haven't even gotten to items. Holy shit. Nerf to Yin augment. Nerf to Yin attack speed from her passive. Sorry, buff to her passive attack speed. My bad. 10% damage off her auto attacks though, which is kind of a nice nerf. Less damage on the lash kick late game. less damage on the right click base, and the slow on the ult is decreased. Good nerfs. Yurei, less damage on the Q, slow duration on the 2 lowered. I didn't even know that shit had a slow, I'm going to be honest. And the damage on the right click decreased. Self-slow while channeling the ult is increased. 15% slower move, so it doesn't slow anymore. Dash crest can no longer be used while Soul Storm is channeling, so you can't use Pacifier, Typhoon, stuff like that if you're inside Yurei ult. I assume you can still flash, though. Fix an issue where Yurei could become soft-locked if she uses the emote while channeling Soulstorm. I'll have to test that one later. Kappa. Spear Throwdown cooldown. Spear Throw cooldown modifier increased from 1.3 times to 1.5 times. Yeah, nobody cares. This shit sucks. You're not throwing the spear at any point. Less HP scaling on the augment. VFX now represents the bash area better. That's good. Cooldown increased late game. Scaling increased though. Using a Vado Outboard now grants additional height to its dash, allowing Zars to dash diagonally in the air. What? So you can dash upwards, I assume is what this means. That's written really weirdly. Less attack speed though. Damage decreased on the right click. Scaling decreased. Cooldown increased early game. Stab cooldown reduction increase. So if you just tap right click, you get it faster. So the cooldown is faster. Throwing the spear now there's 20% bonus damage. I've been saying they should do this forever. Part of the reason why throwing the spear sucks is that it doesn't do anything special. It's the same damage as the regular spear. Now that it does 20% extra base damage, you might actually want to throw it for damage increase. That's actually a good change. I've been asking for that for a while. Savvy effects now correctly matches hitbox. Good. Coliseum walls visualized now better, matches actual collision boundaries. That's good. For some reason, Zara's ult has like 2 walls. There's like 2 different sides of the wall, and you can be in between them or on like either side of them. So it's like kind of weird to see when they're actually stuck against the wall or not. So hopefully that's a little bit easier to read. Duration doesn't last as long. The cage radius decreased, and the cooldown decreased by 10 seconds at all ranks. So you can get more stacks, but a little bit harder to get those stacks. Hopefully you can't get stuck in his ult anymore. Yeah, that would be nice. Building pen on Wukong, I'll never do that. I actually think Malady Wukong is probably the best way to play him right now. Yuri can't get next and stuff while channeling ult. No, you can't use that while... Wait, was that a nerf to Yuri? I thought that was other characters. Maybe I misread that. Oh, this is a nerf to Yuri. I thought this was other characters couldn't. I thought this was a CC. My mistake. She cannot use Nex anymore. I misread that. You're right. She can't use Nex or Pacifier anymore. You're right. I misread that. I thought it was a soft lock from other people using it. My mistake. You're right. Extra healing from her passive. She applies dot on her basic attacks base, so it's not applied to the right click anymore. So you get it at level 1, regardless of whether or not your right click is leveled up, which is actually kind of a huge buff. You just don't even have to level the right click anymore. The one nerf to this, though, is that it doesn't scale anymore. So before it used to scale with right-click damage. Now it doesn't because you're not leveling the right-click to get it anymore. But it is, you get it from level 1, so that's kind of nice. It scales with your levels now, though. Ricochet on the Q, less damage. Stun duration decreased. 2 mana cost decreased. Damage decreased slightly. Healing increased on the right-click, and the scaling decreased. So a little bit more base, a little bit less scaling. Stronger early game. Worst late game, and then she loses the dot damage on that because she gets it by default. We'll be fine, but he's an assassin, not a bruiser. I mean, he's just like weird to play right now. Divine Potion, less healing. I don't even know if you buy this anymore. It's just not really worth it for 30 HP. Before it was like 60 HP, and you got the mana on top of that. Now it's just like probably not worth it, honestly. But we'll see. It might be. Oh, it is still 60, I guess, because they nerfed both by 30 or 15 or whatever. I don't know. We'll see if this is worth it or not. Late game though, it's way worse. Drink water. I got you, bro. I got some vitamin water I've been drinking. Onto the items, bro. This is gonna be a long ass video, dude. Eviscerator, less scaling on the bonus damage auto, like the bonus on hit procs. Liberator cooldown increase. That's good. Pacifier cooldown increase, that's good. Witch Doctor cooldown increase. Brutalize cooldown increase. Basically, they're just making cleanses harder to get access to. Kind of a good thing, but also kind of a bad thing. Because it's hard to make plays without cleanse, but it's also hard to punish people that have cleanse. We're an hour in. I know, dude. Thundercleave power scaling on the Judgment decreased, so it doesn't scale as much. Cooldown on Epoch increased. Additional overcharge damage on the single targets decreased from 30% to 20%. So if you hit somebody multiple times with Tempest, it does less damage. Cyclone attack speed per stack decreased base by 1. Kind of irrelevant. Unless this is percent, in which case that's a lot. Gold per second from Support Crest increased slightly. Increases per like level. You really want to level these up. If this goes from 1.5 to 2, like you really want to level these up. That's a huge. Getting this before your laning opponent is actually huge. You really want to level these up as fast as possible. Ashbringer cost decreased. Why are we buffing Ashbringer? Dust Devil, movement speed decreased. Equinox, extra damage. No bonus damage on auto attacks anymore though, or like on crits. And their shield is increased. Okay. Multi-shot scaling decreased from Quiver, sure. Plasma Blade power decreased. More of a nerf to like Skylar than anybody. Darksteel mana scaling on the Resolution nerfed. Who cares? Solaris physical power increase. It's good for like TV. Radiant Strike on hit damage decreased from 25 to 20 on Spectra. Kind of irrelevant. No 30% slow. More changes are for Spectra are being considered for the future. Yeah, well, this item is just unbuildable now, so I don't know why they did that now. This item is actually just unbuildable. Okay. Physical power scaling on Stormbreaker nerfed, especially if Stormbreaker's nerfed anyways. Like you're never building Spectra. Tainted rounds scaling on the bonus damage decreased. Terminus power decreased. Viper on hit damage decreased. Envy physical pen increased, but the crit damage decreased. Physical power on Infernum decreased. Pen increased. Cinder base damage decreased slightly. Furnace bonus damage modifier now quickly deals 0.5% additional damage per point of bonus armor, not 1%. Okay, so Infernum does a lot less damage. Nightfall does a lot less healing. Omen does 15% bonus damage instead of 20%. Chilling spells slows for 10% instead of 25%. I'm pretty sure. Is this 25%, bro? I swear in game it says 35. Am I tripping? I gotta go look now. Oh, it is 25%. I thought it was 35 for some reason. Like the idea behind removing the slow on Spectra. I mean, I'm fine with removing the slow on Spectra. It's just weird that the item is already not buildable and they nerfed it. That's just weird. So it's already 10% on dot damage, but just more consistent across the board. So now it's 10% for everything. Movement speed per stack on Pain Waver decreased slightly, kind of irrelevant. Spear of Desolation decreased power. So like I go back to 2 stacks instead of 3, but you get more attack speed per stack. Yeah, kind of irrelevant. Gaia Greaves, less physical power scaling, still scales off max HP, less movement speed for free. Still a really good item. Mutilator less Omnivamp, doesn't really matter. Cleave on Overlord does less health scaling, so it's 1% scaling instead of 1.5. They fucked Sonic Echo, that item was goated. It was like good, then it was bad, and then it was good. I don't know. Now it's bad again. You also get less bonus HP on the completion of 75 stacks. So you get a little bit less raw HP. And the scaling is not as high. Still going to be a good item, though. Tented Blade HP decrease, probably a good thing. Tyranny HP decrease, Combustion, extra power. Scaling decrease slightly, so it's a little bit stronger on initial purchase, but it falls off a little bit more. Golem's Gift, more physical armor, who cares? Less per stack, who cares? Item sucks. Less scaling on Magnify. Noxia cost increase, probably needed. Oathkeeper, Spellblade proc decrease slightly, who cares? Overseer, power decrease, who cares? Prophecy getting reverted. So it's getting more base damage, less scaling. So Prophecy is even worse than it already was. Item sucks. I don't know why Timmy's love this item so much. In fact, I know why they like the item so much. It's because fucking they can't hit abilities. This item sucks. Stop building it. It's dog shit. I'm telling you, it is ass. Stop building it. Time warp, less scaling and more haste, or less power, more haste. Actually, kind of a big buff for supports or characters that want just like raw cooldown, but like still a weird item to build because it just doesn't give you really damage. It just gives you cooldown. Flex Matrix damage decreased from 12 to 10%. Crystalline, less HP, more base armor though. This is a buff to Crystalline that's pretty nice. Stonewall, more armor, less HP. Who cares? Sebastian, less HP, more armor. That's a good change. Honestly, these getting more armor for like 50 HP is like so worth it. As like a 1 or 2 off items. Narcissist, thank you for the 40 bits, man. I appreciate it. Nitro's bad for the game. I agree. They did not remove Nitro so far that I've seen. Just looks like we're in items and then bug fixes. We're almost done, dude. Holy shit, we almost made it to the end. Cresselia less power, doesn't really matter. Dynamo no longer grants bonus power after its owning heroes killed once. That's a huge fix, honestly. It's probably why the item feels so ass. Marshall, less on-hit damage. Making sure explosive fires can launch for people further than intended. Nitro, how about you just remove Nitro? Concierge's in-game ranked VP gains could be desynced with their actual VP gains upon completing a match. Okay. Or Prime and Mini Prime could reset their aggro. That's good. Most spec PCs could be incorrectly defaulted to medium visual settings. Okay. Boris could permanently kidnap somebody. That's pretty funny. Control aim assist could track enemy units that are within range but not within vision. Okay, so it doesn't track invis, maybe. How about we just remove aim assist? Fix an issue where Wood VO was not playing correctly. This is Morn, by the way. I don't know why it's written as Morn as Wood. I think that was their their back end name for him. Fix an issue where small group of players couldn't access game mode selection after reaching level 5. This was more than a small amount. I had at least 20 people ask me about this in like the same day. This is not a small amount, but good thing they fixed it. Overall, I give the patch like 7. It's hard to say without playing on it. There's a lot of changes. ARAM's really good. South America ranked is really good. Legacy and Customs is really good. Vault Battle Pass is really good. As far as the actual like changes to the game, it's hard to say. I do wish they removed Nitro. Not a big fan of Nitro. I think it's bad for the game. As for the actual like balance, it's really hard to judge the balance because there's so many different changes, especially a lot of it being like base stats. So overall, I think I'll give the patch like a 7.5, maybe 7. It's hard to. It could go up or down depending on the balance and like how it feels to actually play on it, but it's just hard to say. Everybody say bye to YouTube. Thank you guys if you made it this far in the video. Kind of a long video. Thank you for watching. Denim is a little bot. Feel free to leave Denim the bot in the comment section just to make fun of him for being a little bot and not understanding how Gadget Bomb works.